you know what, I'm gonna wait because they was like, we got this secret car coming out called a Hellcat, blah, 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 blah. The Hellcat came out, and I told my wife, I said, look, I got this money I had put back from retirement. Can I? She said, yeah, if you want to buy the car, go ahead and buy it. So I went to look for a Hellcat. I went down, and the guy was like, you can put money down, and we're going to do a lottery ticket. I said, what do you mean a lottery ticket? Oh, we're going to have it like an auction. Do I got 35? Do we got 45? Da, 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 da. I said, man, I'm not doing that. When the Hellcat first dropped, dog, so I said, man, he would look up cars in his spare time, and he'd say, hey, it's a Hellcat over here in California. It's a Hellcat over here. And he would call them, and they would have them listed at stock price. And I mean sticker price, and he'd call them, and they say, oh, no, we're going to have another 10,000, another 5,000, another. Hey, man, talk to me, man. Let's talk about cars, man.
Let's do it. Let's get this thing started. I actually want you to take me to the very beginning. Like, what got you into the cars? Like, before the demonology thing, what were you? What was your?
So check it out, bro. You know, I grew up. You know, I was born in '64. So you know, I grew up during the civil rights movements and eras and all that kind of stuff. And my I should say my uncles, they're really like my older cousins, but they all grew up in the house with my grandma and stuff like that. But they used to race, or they fell in love with the Mopar products. You know, they had Super Bs, GTXs, stuff like that. You know, and then my aunts, they had Mustangs, Corvettes, and they used to race. You know, and we used to all go out and watch them race to see who the fastest was. And you know, the Corvette was really, really fast. But one day I saw one of my uncles beat a Corvette in his Super B, and I was just really impressed. Plus, you know, back then the cars, they had cartoon characters. You know, the Road Runner had the real Road Runner that you would see on the cartoon. You know, the Duster had a thing doing the tornadoes, looked like the Mighty Heroes. And, you know, I mean, all of them had characters, you know.
Right.
And so the Super B, you know, had that mean looking B with the goggles on and stuff like that. So, you know, I fell in love with Mopar, you know. And my dad was always working on cars and turning wrenches and stuff like that. And I always was one, you know, I'll start out helping him. When my partner say, hey, man, let's go to the park and play some ball. And, you know, I'm like, boom, I'm running out before the old cat could catch me, you know.
Right.
And then finally I got to the point to where it was time for me to get a car. It was 1980, and it was the summertime, and my pops, he said, he you know, him and my mom told me, they said, look, what we're going to do, we're not going to spoil you like we did your oldest brother, because he was a fool. You know, they gave him the car, and he just tore it up, new car. So they say, you're going to have to work for it, and whatever you make, we're going to match it. We're going to do half.
We got a little pause.
Luis, you about to call him back on my phone. So I shut down and started working. Dude, can you believe that I saved up $400? Now, $400 to a dude in the hood was a lot of money back in 1980, right? And so I went to my folks, and I had bags of pennies, and I wouldn't spend no money with my partners. You know, we go to Six Flags, and you know, I wouldn't go, or if I got in, it had to be a free ticket. They buy one, I get in free. I wouldn't spend no, man, you know, I'm drinking out the water fountain and stuff like that, you know. Anyway, I put all the money down. My folks counted it. And my homie said, God damn, he said, this boy done saved up $400. We're going to have to, $800. And so he said, you know what? I got to keep my word. We said we was going to match it. So I had $800 to buy a car. So I went out and tried to get a Barracuda. My cousin Marcus had a yellow Barracuda with a 440. He used to race it at the Yellow Belly drag strip all the time, you know. And my, you know, Big Dan and my uncles and stuff, that they would go race their cars there too. So we went out looking for a Cuda. I didn't have enough money for a Cuda. The Cudas, they wanted like $1,200 for them back then and whatnot. But I found a guy who had a 70 Dodge Challenger with a 383. It was B5 blue with a white vinyl top on it. And he said, I told him my story. His name was Eddie. And Eddie said, man, I will give you this car for the $800. So I divvied up my $800. That was my first car. So what did I do? Naturally, you know, I took my car to the Yellow Belly drag strip, you know, in Grand Prairie and Dalworth, raced it, first time, had fun, second time, third time, boom, it just stopped.
Dang.
Broke the timing chain on the car, right? So my partner hooked the chain to his truck. That was back in the day when you didn't call a record. So my partner hooked the chain on his truck and pulled me all the way back home, man, like 15 miles away. You know. So, you know, I get back to the house, you know, hell, man, I think I'm probably about 16, you know. And so, man, I get back to the house, man, and I go up to the old man and I say, I don't know what's wrong with the car. And he crank it. He said, well, sounds like you broke the timing chain. I said, oh, man. I said, okay, well, I said, what we going to do to fix it? And he said, life lesson. Boy, when he said life lesson, it wasn't going to be nothing good. He said, it looks like you going to take auto mechanics and learn how to work on your own car.
Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah, so anyway, you know, she sells real estate. She got a real estate client trying to call her. Called him on my phone. So anyway, so I took auto mechanics, and my auto mechanic teacher was really cool. He was a guy named Mr. Elton, and he raced. Well, he was part of a race team for a guy named Andy Granatelli. Andy Granatelli had a rotary engine and had put the racers to shame because this rotary engine had no rev limiter. It would just rev up into the atmosphere and was beating everybody, you know. And he had these, back then in the 80s, he had these famous oil changing places. Come to Andy Granatelli's and get your oil changed, you know, this Italian guy. But anyway, Mr. Elton, you know, he saw my car, he fell in love with it. He said, "We'll make this your project car." And so I learned how to work on my car. I could do anything to that Dodge Challenger. Later on, I went to college, played football, got on the police department, was one of the youngest on the department. I still had that car. Met a young lady, and her mom told her, she said, "Don't date that guy with that hot rod." He said, that's a troublemaker.
Right, right. Hoodlum.
Yeah. So hold on. Let me find this number right here for this woman. So she said, don't you date that guy with that hot rod. That guy is gonna be a troublemaker. Da 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 da. Man, don't you know I sold that car and bought a because of the girl. I bought because of a girl. I said she up here talking about because of a girl. What? Anyway, man, I sold the car and bought a truck and had been missing drag racing ever since. And then a couple of years later, I jumped into a 20th anniversary turbo Trans Am. It was I think it was an 89. Yeah, 1989, 20th anniversary turbo Trans Am. Jumped in it, started racing it again. It had the turbo. It basically had the same Grand National. It had the same engine in it as the Grand National, similar to it, right? It had some little changes. And guys would say, "Hey, is that a 5.7? I say, "No, it's just a little V6. They popped the hood, big Garrett turbo sitting right there, and they would count the 6 spark plugs. Okay, that's a race, I'll bet. So that's when I was, you know, younger. I was doing some kind of street racing. I mean, man, I was a police officer at the time, and we would get together with other officers. They had 5.0s, and, you know, because those were the pursuit police cars, and we thought they was fast. We put our little money up, you know, $200, you know.
Right.
Wow, you know, I smoked.
That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of money, man. You know, so basically we was racing for our part-time job money. You know, you go work a club, you be working the club at the part-time job, you get paid, and then the guys start talking, "Oh, this 5.0 will beat that, or this IROC Camaro will beat that," you know, and well, it's just a little V6, and they didn't understand I had that big Garrett turbo. So I started beating them, and I was making a little money like that clown and whatnot. And then I just quit racing, you know, because it started costing too much money, you know, to rebuild and do stuff like that. But I promised myself when I was a kid and I was working on that 383 car, I remember saying to myself one day when I was turning wrenches on it, I said, "Man, why would somebody buy a car with a 383 engine in it when you had cars like a 426 Hemi and a 440 Magnum, you know, and blah, blah, blah." So I promised myself, I said, if I ever get in a position where I can afford a nice car, I'm going to buy the fastest car that Mopar makes, right? And so for years, Mopar didn't make anything.
Yeah, true.
So I was just left out of the game. I mean, they made some terrible K cars and, you know, I mean, just some terrible cars. I mean, we don't even need to go through the names of them.
They know.
Yeah. And I retired in 2010, and I had put some money back. And in 2015, I was thinking about buying one of the fast Mopars back then. You know, I forgot what they was called or whatnot. But they had redid the Challenger, and I was thinking about buying one of those cars. And so I said to myself, you know what? I'm gonna wait, because they was like, we got this secret car coming out called a Hellcat, blah 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 blah. The Hellcat came out, and I told my wife, I said, look, I got this money I had put back from retirement. Can I? She said, yeah, if you want to buy the car, go ahead and buy it. So I went to look for a Hellcat. I went down, and the guy was like, you can put money down, and we're going to do a lottery ticket. I said, what do you mean a lottery ticket? Oh, we're going to have it like an auction. Do I got 35? Do we got 45? I said, man, I'm not doing that. So then I went to another dealership, and they said, yeah, we'll sell it, but we're going to sell it for $20,000 over. I said, man, no, that was the Hellcat. When the Hellcat first dropped, dog. So I said, man, I'm not doing that. I'll just get an SRT8. Then I said, no, I'm not going to do that either. So I was kind of pissed off about it, and ran into an old buddy that I played football with, and he was working at a dealership. He said, man, I can get you a Hellcat. Turned out he couldn't get me a Hellcat, and I was so on the edge, he talked me into getting a 392. He said, man, I'll get you a great deal on the 392. We got one down in Houston. I live in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. It needs to be picked up. He said, we have 2 pickup trucks that need to go there. So he said, if you drive one of them, pick up that 392, bring it back. So, oh, God. So anyway, here I go. I'm driving the Dodge. I drive it down there, pick up this car, drive it back, fell in love with it, drive it back, put my money down, bought the 392, right? I'm driving the 392, me and my program director, you know, I'm running the jiu-jitsu school, right? And so my program director, you know, I mean, he's a good dude, man. He would look up cars in his spare time, and he'd say, hey, it's a Hellcat over here in California. It's a Hellcat over here. And he would call them, and they would have them listed at stock price. And I mean sticker price. And he'd call them, and they say, oh, no, we're going to add another 10,000, another 5,000, another. So he called this place up in Illinois, and the guy says, we just got one in on a trade-in, and we will sell it. So I called the guy and said, you going to add anything extra to it? He says, no. I said, well, this is my deal. I have a 392, same color, Sublime green. I only got maybe 3,000 miles on it. He said, bet. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, he said, have your 392 shipped up here to us. We'll put you $5,000 upside down. I said, all right, deal. So yeah. I had my first Hellcat. So I bought my Hellcat, went to the drag strip, started racing it, had a great time, enjoyed racing it, and then
What year was this? Like what? Late?
This was 2016. This was 2016.
Okay.
Yeah. So this was 2016. So I had the 392, then I had the Hellcat, raced the Hellcat, enjoyed it, had a good time running it, and the Demon came out. And when the Demon came out, that promise I made to that little boy, you know, to that young 16-year-old, that I'm going to do the fastest if I'm in a position, right?
Yeah.
And so I told my wife, I said, they got this new car coming out, and it's called a Demon. And I said, I really, really want to get this car. And she said, look, if you made that promise and you're going to earn up to it, then, you know, who am I to stop you? So I have to say, man, I just had great support, you know. So here we go, man. I go and I buy the Demon. I go to the dealership. The dealership puts me on a list. Well, first they say we don't have a list. So I leave the dealership. I'm at an event with a guy, the release of the Demon, and he's talking to me. He says, no, they do got a list at that dealership because I'm on it. He called the general manager of the dealership and said, hey, my friend is there. Y'all said y'all didn't have a list. And he said, put his name on the list. So he put me on the list. No big deal. The Demons came out. My name is supposed to be on the list. I called one of my kinfolk. He works at a dealership called Freeman Dodge. Do not do business with this dealership, man. Them cats had me so mad. So I go up to this dealership, right? Freeman Dodge. I go up there, and my, my kinfolk is there, my cousin is there. And they have nobody that wants to order the demon.
Wow.
So I said, okay, put me on the order. So then he goes back, he says, man, my sales manager is tripping. I said, what do you mean? So the sales manager come out and talk to me. He said, we need to sell you a window tinting package for, I think it was $15,000.
A window?
Yeah, and I said, excuse me. And the guy says, no. He says, we have to abide by Dodge's rules, because if we don't, Dodge will penalize us. But to get around it, we're gonna sell you the car at sticker, but we're gonna sell you a window tinting package for $15,000, and we need $5,000 down. And so I was like, oh Lord, what am I gonna do, man? And my cousin looking at me like, like one of them looks like, don't do it.
Right, but I'm sure deep side you're like, oh, what this car so bad?
Yeah, man. So I was like, man, I don't know. And man, hey man, this is where God stepped in at, man. The phone rang. I think it's one of my part. I answered the phone. Hello. You gotta say, hey, this is Kevin at Meta Dodge, and we have a list for Demon. We was allocated 7. You was number 8 on the list, but the number 7 got backed out and decided he did not want the car. Do you want the car?
Look at that.
And yeah, man, and I'm sitting right there, man. I got the dude on speak. I got him on speakerphone. So I said, are y'all adding anything extra to the car? Y'all selling it at sticker? And he said, oh yeah, of course we're selling that sticker because we'll be penalized. I said, I'll be right on my way there. Got up, left. Man, my cousin called me about 10 minutes after I was going to the dealership. He said, man, I feel so bad. The sales manager feels so bad. I talked to him. He said, come on back. He's going to do right. I said, tell the dude I'll be right back. Man, I went to Meta Dodge, put in my order, and that's how I got the Demon.
Nice. Nice. So
yeah.
As far as the name demonology, did you
name
demonology?
Man, the way that happened is when the Demon came, when I took delivery of the Demon, like when the Hellcat was out, you got to realize you had guys like Mission Flyer that was doing videos with Hellcats. You had guys like Tall Guy Car Review that was doing big shout out to Corey. Tall Guy Car Review was made Hell Keys it famous. Yeah. Even a dude like Street Speed 717, they have. But so I was frustrated because they had nobody showing the Dodge Demon stuff. And so my program director had went to school.
Level 2.
Yeah.
Level, different bracket.
Hey man, my program director, he had went to school for graphic design or whatever, and I was complaining. So he said, well, why don't you take your own medicine? And I said, what's that? He said, if you want something done right, do it yourself. You got the car, why don't you race it? And so I took the car to the drag strip. I filmed it. I brought the film back. I showed him the film. He put up a little video. We did a video of a crate unboxing. And so we did another one. And he said, well, man, what do you want to call it? I said, the Demon got all this technology. So why don't we just put those two together and call it demonology? I had no idea that demonology was the study of demons. Man, I did not know that. Right. So here I go. I make this channel called Demonology. I see my mom. She, oh, you going to hell with gasoline draws on. I'm like, what you gonna knock the bottom out of hell? What you running around here with the demon? You worse as your uncles back in the day when they used to race them damn demons. We wouldn't even let them come to church. Them heathens. Right. And so I'm like, no, Mom, it's the technology of demon. Boy, that's the damn study. Your granddad is a preacher. He's a theologian. That's the study of the devil worshiping. No, man. So I said, no, Mama, come on, and then, I was kind of upset about it. And then I got a real good partner that was a police chaplain, right? And me and him, boy, man, hey, man, we worked undercover together. Dude, man, we almost got killed and all kind of stuff, right? God. And so he was the police chaplain, he was a brother, and I was talking to Mitch about it. I grew up in a real religious family, right? And he said, think about it like this. He said, God will take a demon and use it for his goodness. And I said, what do you mean? He said, well, remember when Paul was walking through the crowd, and God had that demon put a thorn in his side. That was for a reason. You know, God is in control of everything. So I said, Daddy, I'm finna use this demon for the glory of God. And my mama said, you going to hell with gasoline draws on. Hey, man, that's like that time. Hey, man, my mom is so funny. My wife, she loves it because my mom, she say some crazy stuff. You know, I was a young officer, and I call myself being a player. You know, I was dating these two girls, right? And this one girl come to my mama's house, dude, grown woman, crying all on my. Man, I called my mom said, get over to this house. So, man, hey, I show up. She said she's standing in the door holding her robe. She said, boy, you got a bad record, and it's playing on every station. Get your ass in this house. You know?
Man, that's a lot.
Yeah, man. But anyway, man, so that's how I come up to that. So that's how we got the name demonology. And it was supposed to be to show the technology of the demon.
Right.
And later I met this guy because I could not get that car to do what it was supposed to do. People don't know this, but my demon was not set up properly. Dodge had made a mistake on several demons. I want to say a little less than half of them. Oh, wow. When they shipped them out of Canada, they done something to the PCM that would not allow them to get the drag suspension on the car. And so I noticed this because the more I started racing, some people said, hey, race my demon. And their demons, front wheels would come off the ground. I couldn't get my front wheels to come off the ground on my car, you know. And later we figured out, I probably drove the car probably about 9 months with it not running properly. But that was a blessing in disguise because I was always at the drag strip because I was like, I want to do a wheelie, right? Putting weight in it, doing all this stuff. And met this old cat named Rod Hetzel. You know, I remember I was at the drag strip, some of the dudes, they said, man, whatever you do, don't take no advice from that old cat right there because he's a foot breaking guy. I was like, foot breaking, what's that? You know. So he came up, sure enough, he came up to me and said, you mind if I give you some advice on the car? I said, yeah. So you know, I'm always to learn, man. I'm out there by myself, man. Yeah, man. So that dude was Rod Hetzel, man. I had talked to another cat because I said, man, who is this dude that they said don't listen to? They said, man, that dude's a champion, man. That dude's a champion driver. They just don't like him because he beat everybody, right? So he started showing me these pointers. I was talking to him. I can't get the front tires up. He said, well, lighten the weight on it, put some lighter wheels on it and change the wheels, change the brakes and and do this and change the tire height, make the tire become your suspension and learn how to cut a light. And basically what happened is I started winning races using this guy's techniques. And me and him, we just became really, really good friends. And then one day, you know, I went to one of his events. And to race in his event, he had a Mustang event because he races Fords. And you put an M on the car, and people thought it was Mopar, but the M stood for Mustang. And so all the people was like, why do you got this guy with this Dodge Demon racing with these Mustangs, you know? And Rod races Cobra Jets, which is a real Ford race car. And so one day he said something that was really funny, and everybody started laughing. He said, well, what do you call a guy that races a Dodge Demon and has been taught to race by a guy that races Ford Cobra Jets? And the dudes there at the track, they say, I don't know, what do you call it? Rod said, well, you call him the soul snatcher. That's what you call him, because he's snatching souls. And so that's how that name stuck. You know, it's a soul snatcher. And the thing with Rod Hetzel is that he was born on Halloween. So he always wears this orange jacket and he has an orange car and he likes, you know, and he liked the name Demon and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, man, and we just hit it off, man. And then after that, we had Dodge to fix the car. You know, my car was a trip because when I would turn my car on, a Hellcat emblem would come up on the dashboard and not a demon emblem. People would watch my YouTube videos and say, man, that dude is a liar. He don't have no damn demon. He just put some demon stuff on his Hellcat. Look at his dash when he turned it on. You know, I'm a brother. I'm like, no, man, I'm not lying. It's really a demon. And they like, man, you's a liar. You's an effing liar. You know how the dudes do it, man.
You know how the internet do.
Yeah, man, they was going off on me. And it pissed my mechanic off more than it pissed me off. So my mechanic stayed on top of it. As a matter of fact, he showed me some emails from some of the top guys at Dodge I think this guy name was oh man, I forget the engineer's name, but it's the engineer that made that done the car. I don't know if the dude's name is Wilder or something like that. But this dude wrote my mechanic back and said, what should he be complaining about? His car ran a 985, which is close to the 965 that Dodge did. Who cares if it has a, whatever on the car, what? And so that kind of, that bothered Luis. So Luis kept sending stuff in. And so Luis made a clip of my videos and sent them to a different engineer on Team Dodge. Showed me driving 3 different Demons. All their front tires is coming off the ground, and then showed mine and how mine wouldn't lift, right? Mine was running like a Hellcat. And this one engineer looked at the video, sent some programming to Luis and said, oh my gosh, not only is it his car, it's several other Demons. We need to make a revision. We messed up and they're running the Hellcat suspension.
That started, so they found out that issue through your car?
Yes, they found out that issue through my car. Right.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And so then after that, they sent that revision to make sure everybody's Demon was running in the right mode and fix my car. And, I felt like, man, you owe me 9 months worth of something because I was running a Hellcat for 9 months, Yeah. Because I had the 392 and I had the Hellcat, and then eventually I sold the Hellcat. Actually, I had both. I had my Hellcat and I had my 392 at the same time. And my wife, she wanted another. My wife sells real estate. As a matter of fact, big props out to her. She made the $1 million club for the month. So this past month, she sold $1 million worth of property during this crazy time, right?
Huge accomplishment.
And yes, man, kudos to her. I say, go get it, Becky, and bring it home. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, man, so here we go with this car and making this journey. And I met some really, really nice people racing this car. Guys like Mod the Fame, guys like Corey, Tall Guy Car Review, 728 Auto. Met one of the guys that I looked up to in the game, which is Mission Flyer. This is a dude, man, I always tease him, because I told my wife, I say, look at this dude on YouTube, baby, he black like me. And she's like, oh, black like you. I said, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
he was working on his Hellcat and doing all kind of stuff. And then he just went away for a while. And I didn't know that he was in service, and he was actually doing service missions and caught an illness or disease. But anyway, the guy is good, and we met up at a car meet and became friends, Guys like Real to Real, man, just audio. I just started meeting all these YouTubers. Stunner Reese was actually a YouTuber that reached out to me early. Man, I wish I could do an interview with my brother Stunner Reese.
Don't reach out.
Yeah.
Yep, in Chicago, right?
Yeah, in Chicago. Stunner Reese reached out and brought us all together and said, man, we're going to do an event. Would you come up to this event, Demonology? I said, yeah, but it's too far for me to get my car up there. He said, man, just fly up and we'll have somebody's car for you to drive. And sure enough, I did. And it was funny, when I showed up at that event because, I show up in this guy's cars there, and he had put Tunnel Chaser stickers all over his car, but Tunnel Chaser wasn't down. I was supposed to race the Cat Street Speed 717, right? Mm-hmm. But so I show up there, and what they have been doing is that they have been taking this guy Tunnel Chaser because he didn't have a skill set. He didn't know how to really drive the car. And so all these big time YouTubers would call him, hey, come over here and bring your Demon and race me. And then they beat him, and they beat up on him. And so I called him one day. I said, hey, Vinny, it's a small world because of YouTube and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. Reached out to him, and I said, man, I can give you some pointers on how to drive your car. I see you losing these races. He said, I don't care about winning races. I'm just having fun. But then he called me one day, and he was really upset. This cat, I think his name was Guitar Mageddon or something like that. They called him to come to a deal, and they was just riding next to him, and the dude just honked the horn 3 times and took off. Didn't say nothing to him. A couple of weeks later, he put on the video, I destroyed the Dodge team.
They getting clowned off that guy, man. That's bad, man.
Hey, man, they were beating up on him. So this cat called me. He said, man, they're going to have this event. I think it was a Mod the Fame event is what it was. And so he said, you can drive my car in the Mod the Fame event. He said, but I won't be there. So I show up. This joker done wrote tunnel chaser all over his car. His cars are, and this dude looked back at me and he say, tunnel chaser's car's here. Well, where's tunnel chaser? I said, well, I'm gonna drive tunnel chaser's car. And the dude said, well, who the fuck is you? And I started laughing. I said, I'm the soul snatcher. I'm the dude they call demonology. And they started laughing. Say, man, that ain't gonna make a difference. We done all beat this car. I said, okay.
Oh boy.
So man, that's why I met Will Motivation was up there, man, with the Lambo. It was fast, man. And the funny story, man, is that I beat Will, and generally when I'm at home, I'm racing, and I have my brother with me and my kids and stuff like that, and in third degree to help me keep track of stuff. Well, I didn't have anybody to help me keep track of stuff, and I was doing natural. So every time I make like 2 passes, I top the gas tank back off. So I went to go race Will Motivation, and I cut a light on it, so pretty, right? And jumped out on him, and he was trying to walk me down in that Lambo. And the car ran out of gas, dude.
Oh, oh no.
And so the car ran out of gas, and it went, whoa, 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 whoa. And I coasted through and still beat him. And so he was like, I was catching. I said, yeah, you was catching me, but you got to realize the car ran out of gas, and I would have been at the finish line quicker had it not run. No, you gonna road race me? So I had to race him again. Road race him. This time I put the whooping on him. But man, that Will Motivation boy, he was hilarious, man. He said, "Don't worry, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you." Yeah. So the brothers. I mean, we grew up in an environment to where you go to the park, you play basketball, football, whatever, win or lose, you have fun. If you lose, everybody make fun of you and you laugh with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You laugh along with them. But some cats that ain't grown up like us, you make fun of them, you laugh at them, and they got a grudge. They got a personal grudge.
Yeah.
You see stuff all on Instagram and YouTube, and you a sorry piece of crap, and you would, come on, man. We don't look, man. When I lose a race, win or lose, hell, I make fun of myself. If you beat me in a race, I'm gonna make you a hell of a video which you beat me in that race. Because that's the way we grew up. We learned to laugh with it and not, at it, or however you want to call it.
Absolutely.
But man, I had a good time up there, man, and met all those cats. And Stunner Reese got us together. Steph from Mod to Fame brought us. It was a Mod to Fame event, and man, we just been rocking ever since, dude, and just been having a blast, having a good time, having fun, racing cars. I mean, who would have thought? I'm retired, and I teach jiu-jitsu, but who would have thought that I would have had another love besides my passion of teaching Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and that is racing a stock kind of base car. YouTube. Who'd have thought I'd be on YouTube? Yeah, I mean, you never know, right, brother?
Yeah.
Hey, man, so why don't you tell me? So, what kind of car do you like?
So right now I'm driving a Bentley Flying Spur.
Oh man, boy, you rolling a whip.
Yeah,
you picking them up.
Yeah. So
you picking them, man. The skirts can't pass you, can they?
Yeah. So about maybe five or 6 years ago, I started a luxury concierge chauffeur transportation in the Washington D.C. Maryland area. So I've been rolling with that. That kind of got me into the whole exotic luxury car lane.
Right.
Prior to that, I had a Mercedes CLS. Kind of like I was doing the same thing, kind of like Stunner Reese. That's why my name is Car Show Ride. You should throw a lot of car shows, big car shows in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area. Everybody would bring their cars, compete for trophies and everything like that. Prior to that, the cars that actually got me into the whole car scene, I had a Chevrolet Tahoe back in like 2004 with the Lambo doors, spinning wheels, TVs everywhere, crazy system. And that's what really got me into the car culture. This was back.
Yeah. Wow. Hey, man, somebody said you got an I-8. So you got an I-8? You rock an I-8 too?
The I is owned by E Vapors. He's the other host.
Okay, E Vapors. E Vapors is rocking I. Hey man, my boy Rich Rebuild, man. I talked to him and he rocks the I-8. Right now he having a lot of beef with Tesla. Man, I don't know why people hate on us, man, but that's just the world that we live in. Come on, man. But man, this dude has done so much. This is one guy that helped convince me to purchase a Tesla, him and Drag Time. But, Rich Rebuilds,
Quick, we just took one on a rally today.
Dude,
Keeping
so
up with
fast.
Yes, it kept up with the 720S.
Hey man, look, it's so fast, man. It's like, to me, it's like having a smartphone and a dumb phone. I mean, once you own this car, you know, my little brother's an electrician, and he put a 1040 SEMA plug, whatever, off in the house, and man, we take it, plug it in, charge it up about 4 or 5 hours, and it's 100, right?
Yep.
But it does little things that I think gas cars should have had a long time ago. Like the phone is everything with the car. We always have our phones with us. You know, I go to the car, I get in it. You don't have to press a button to start it. I just put it in gear and drive out. I get a 20 feet from the house, beep, beep, garage door go down. I come back to the house, 100 feet to the house, beep, beep, the garage door go up. I get out the car, I just walk away from it. You know, I'm in the store, it's hot. Hell, my wife called me one day. She said, look, I'm gonna turn the air on. So now I do that for her. She in the store. I mean, we talking. I just get on the phone. I turn the air on for her. She get in the car. The air is on. You know,
Yep.
I mean, it's little things that this car does, and it's so quick and nimble, and the ride is oh so good. But I'm like, man, I'm hooked, and we laugh about it now. We have not went to the gas station. Well, you can't go to the gas station in a Tesla, but we have not had range anxiety. We have not missed the gas station. And matter of fact, last night we went camping in the car. Can you believe that, man?
Wow.
We got tired, and I was looking at a video of people going camping. So we went and popped us a campsite, got in the car, turned the air, and our mistake was we brought our little dogs with us. They was all over us in the car, but we went to sleep looking at the stars in the sky in the car with the air conditioner on. Come on, man, don't get no better than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, absolutely. So we got about roughly 10 minutes left, so I may ask
Talk to
you
me.
1 or 2 questions to wrap it up. One thing for our listeners that's out there, you know, people aspiring to get to the level that you're at with the Dodge Demon. You know, obviously, I love your story. You know, you started from the ground up. You know, you worked your way up. A lot of people they just see you as demonology and think you was always demonology. You always had top line cars. What can you tell to our audience that's out there, you know, as far as trying to work their way up to get to the level of, you know, car ownership, auto enthusiasts, where you're at today?
Yeah, one thing that I like to say is that I'm more of a grassroots drag racer. You know, it's not a real race car, but it's a grassroots kind of race car. And I like to put all my speed on the drag strip. They do road racing on the drag strip, and they do dig racing, you know, where you start from the light. What I like to tell people is that I don't care what car you have, learn a skill set on how to drive it. You know, with anything you do, either you're skilled or you're unskilled. If you're skilled, then you're way ahead of the game, right? You don't have to have the baddest, fastest car. What people don't realize is that the Demon, I raced the Demon for a whole year in stock form and beat pretty much any and everything out there, stock for stock. You know, I even beat a lot of modded cars. And once I modded the Demon, it was no stop. But take your time, live within your means, live within your within your budget. I like to budget and say, hey, 20%. You know, I had this talk with my son the other day because he's a welder now and he's going out looking for a truck. And so I said, look, you want your car payments to be no more than 20% of your budget, right? And if you do make a decision that I'm going to go get this bad car that's more than 20% of my budget, then I want you to put yourself in a position where your hustle pays for your car.
Love that.
In other words, when I was a police officer, we worked part-time jobs, right? And when I decided I want this 20th anniversary turbo Trans Am, it was more than 20% of my budget. But my part-time jobs covered that. So I worked my part-times to pay for that job. And when I made the step to get the Dodge Demon, hey, YouTube pay for my Dodge Demon payment. You know, so you don't even have to dig into your budget if you're willing to go out and get your hustle on something else. Now, whatever your hustle is, that's up to you. I mean, you may be a guy that can mow yards. You may be a guy that can turn wrenches. You may be a guy that's an artist. Whatever it is, put the extra hustle time in on and use that money to get your dream car and pay for your dream car. So that's what I recommend. Find something else to pay for that. For that dream car and not your main budget.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't get a time cue. I'm gonna try to sneak in one last question.
Yes, sir.
I first heard about you from Will Motivation page. You know, he said
Okay.
soul was snatched from a Dodge, and you know that intrigued me. Like, hold up, a Dodge beat a Lamborghini Huracan? Who is this guy? I need to know who he is, what he drives, what he did to the car to beat a Lamborghini. And you know, I found out your channel, I found out your page. I'm like, oh, this thing's really fast. Like these things are beating Lambos. They beating.
Oh yeah.
You know, you're. I think you beat a couple 720Ss, a couple.
Yes.
Drag time.
Yeah.
Tell us if you get 60
well,
seconds.
you know, I didn't beat drag times yet. I always like to say yet, and drag times is really good on the tree as well. I did beat Street Speed 717, but so what do you want to know? What do you want to know? What was the last part?
Talk to us a little bit about the experience with racing the supercars in about 60 seconds.
Okay, this is what I found with the supercar. If you cut a good light on the supercar and get out on it, it has to walk you down. A lot of people don't realize that the majority of times I race on an 8-mile track, which is a short track. They're not going to walk me down on an 8-mile track. In a 1/4-mile track, I got to cut a good light, and then it's up to them because they got turbos. Turbos will run you down because turbos is free horsepower. So that's the key. If you can get out and cut a good light and cut a good 60-foot, you can get to the end of the race before they finish, even though they have a higher or faster mile an hour. So a skill set will do it. The driver mod is real. So that's how I beat supercars, is with the driver mod.
Cool. I'm gonna wrap it up there, man. I mean,
hey, man, I want to know when you're gonna be on my show, man. We do a show on Wednesdays. So when can you be on my show? Because I want to ask you.
Let me know. Just let me know.
Hey, man, what you got going on this Wednesday around 1900 hours, 7 o'clock, around 7 o'clock, around 7 or 8 o'clock?
I should be. I know I'm going to be out with a client. I should be done with them around 4, so I should be back in the house probably like around 6 or so. So
okay, so 8 o'clock is good.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, I'll hit you up, but it won't be Instagram Live. It's going to be on the Demonology channel.
That's perfect.
I want to see if I can put you and your boy on there, so I can have both of y'all on there together.
Let's do it. We gonna
Sounds good, brother.
I'll make that happen. You know, again, appreciate you coming on. You know, obviously, we hope to even do some stuff in person. We'll fly to you or fly film in person with the cars.
Hey, man, let's get it together. And we didn't get to mention my partner, well, my nemesis, Dunk Master.
I seen the video, Dunk Master. You ate him up.
Hey, man, look, man, I built it. Look, Dunk, you know, my car had problems. I know Dunk Master say ain't no excuses, but people didn't see the race when I raced the Black Blur, right? Dunk Master, he saw I'm building the engine. He done went out and built another engine. He said, you ain't going to get one up on me. So I'm looking to race him with his new engine and my new engine. So we're going to put them together. Hey, man, take care. God bless you, man.
Thank you,
Peace
man.
out. Yes, sir.
We gonna talk. We're going to set up for Wednesday and anything else we got in the future. You got our blessings. You come to my city. And you need a car to get chauffeured around in.
Hey, man, what city y'all in, brother?
I represent the Maryland, Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia region.
Hey, man, I grew up in Chocolate City, man. I used to be in Oxon Hill, Maryland in the summer. My dad was in the Pentagon, you know, and so we would fly up there and hang out in Chocolate City. I got family that's still up that way. Cool. My dad came from West Virginia, so
nice.
Nice.
And he's down in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I'm pretty sure he touched you the same way, man.
Sounds good. Hey, man, I'll let you later, brother.
All right. Thanks again. Thanks again for everything.
All right.